Well, hello there and welcome back. This week we're going to talk about your questions and have some engagement on composure. Yeah, composure is that thing that we talked about that you really have to be in control of what you're doing. So composure, and I have as always, Teri.
Hello.
All right. Well, she's going to ask questions. I'm going to answer the questions as best as I can, with as much composure as possible. Teri, question number one.
Okay. While maintaining composure is important, showing passion and enthusiasm is also important. Any advice on how to walk that line?
Yeah, the biggest advice I can share is be yourself. You need to make sure you share your passions with others, but make sure you know who your audience is. If you're particularly excited about a movie that's coming out and you're with your friends, share that excitement. If you're excited about the movie but with your coworkers, make sure that topic is actually appropriate for work environment so that you can share your excitement about things that are appropriate there. That composure is not necessarily filtering. It's more along the lines of just be aware of where you are and make sure that you're aligned to what you need to do. Okay, next.
Okay. Any recommendation on how to recover after you maybe lose composure?
Yes, this is the thing that I struggle with most is that recovery. Because for me, I replay the situations over and over and over and yes, over again in my head. And I figure out where I could have changed it. Now, I can't go back in time. As much as I would like to, I really just can't go back. So what I try to do is I try to engage the individuals a little bit differently. But first, if it was me who loses composure, I try to apologize so that I regroup and then re-engage. The goal is to build that confidence in my peers or my team, even after I've lost composure. Sometimes it's implementing a joke afterwards, knowing that I lighten the mood and I revert the emotion back from irritation, anger, or fear to more of a inviting atmosphere. Now that joke may not always work, but it does just break the mood to say, "Wait, I know I made a mistake." It's okay to say that you made the mistake, but it's not okay to stay there. So when you do, try to regroup from that, try to recover, but also make sure that you follow through on the things that you say afterwards and are consistent in how you're demonstrating composure moving forward. All right, number three.
Number three. Okay. In today's world, where so much of the work happens in written communication, um, it can be easy to maybe lose composure or go a little over the edge. Do you have any guidance or recommendation as far as reining that in? And again, if you do kind of go over the line, how do you kind of fix that?
Email. It has no tone in it other than what the other person picks up. So when you're responding to any of that, sometimes this is where your AI partners can come in, is use Copilot, use ChatGPT, use something to kind of tone it down a bit. Now, that's not the end answer because you still have to filter to see if it's better. When email was new and coming up, I didn't recognize tone myself. So for me, I would just send the yes, no, or here's the facts. And it works on Dragnet, but it doesn't always work in email. So just be aware of what you're sending. If you're a little sensitive to it or you're not sure if it sends the right message, ask somebody to read it before you send it. If you're writing a tough message and you have to say no to a particular process, write it in Word, write it in Notepad. Do something to where if you need to get out that emotion first, get it out, but don't make sure it just doesn't go out. And so you can narrow it down from there to where you can revert to the facts and then add a little flavor to it so that you're maintaining that composure enough so that you have the credibility within your teams and your partners that you're sending the message to. Okay, are there any more?
Kind of just more of an opinion. Quiet quitting seems to be a thing we hear about where people just kind of mentally disengage from work and then just kind of go through the motions. So, a lot of that is just maintaining composure or just kind of doing what you have to do. You have any thoughts about that as far as
Yeah,
maintaining?
that's an interesting topic now. It's been going on for a little while, and that composure piece is big. And a lot of times when people end up leaving, the leader says, "Well, I didn't know that they were dissatisfied." Watch for the signs as a leader. You'll get that. Okay, thank you. Or the next step. that it takes too long to get something done or whatnot. But as a leader, you need to watch out for that. It's your role to make sure you bring them back to the fold, to even if they are leaving, is that they share that information with you. If you're in that situation to where you're just going through the motions and it doesn't really matter for you anymore, ask yourself and check yourself on if you're maintaining that composure for what you have to do. That composure is, again, being true to yourself, but also not giving up on the work that you have to do. So many people think that they're going to turn in their notice or they're on that last leg of an interview for that next step. However, you don't know until it happens. So don't burn any bridges and make sure that composure remains to where you're still professional, but your mind may be somewhere a little bit else, and you have to decide on how you present yourself. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, so remember, composure has to be aligned to the other pieces, the other C's that we've talked about already. You can't forget those. But you also have to remember that there's other people around you, and they interpret how composed you are. If you see some of those challenges, make sure you take the break and regain that momentum. Well, that about does it for this week. Thanks. And next week, we're going to talk to you about courage. And we're going to start with the organization, but courage is another big C that we have to tackle before we get to creativity and commitment. Thanks, and have a great day.